Hello again, YouTube family. Thanks for joining me on this video. And as you can see by the image to my left, this video we're discussing the issues going on with Britney Spears. And I'm going to be upfront. I've not followed her career. I didn't know a great deal about her prior to the massive amount of reading I did after she made her recent statements last week in court. I think it was about a 24-minute statement she had recorded for the judge. The judge is Brenda Penny. And I didn't realize exactly how massive a celebrity she was. I mean, Britney Spears came into celebrity during my adult life. And I've heard her music. I've seen some of her videos. I know she started out as a more modest pop singing young girl, and then got more racy, a little bit more, she changed her style up a little bit as she got older. She evolved, because in music, that's what you've got to do. You can't be a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, whatever, modest pop girl forever. Eventually, you've got to evolve in order to maintain your status, and she did that. I mean, and I was amazed at exactly how massively successful she's been throughout her career. And as this stuff is starting to come out, you've had the as you can tell by the image, the hashtag freebritney movement has been going on since I think around 2018. Her dad had called that ridiculous and saying that people were conspiracy theorists. I'm assuming at this point trying to demonize these people who are advocating for Britney Spears. But the New York Times reported in conjunction with that Britney Spears has been trying to end her conservatorship for years. Britney Spears herself addressed her issues to Judge Brenda Penny. Spears claims she wants to sue her parents and says that she was abused by a therapist while she's been in this conservatorship. Among the various bombshell statements she made in her recorded statement to the judge, Spears' conservatorship is costing her a fortune. She called the conservatorship abusive. In Spears' 20-plus minute address, she said that she didn't feel as though she was heard the last time she made a court appearance 2 years ago. She said she had been put on lithium against her will, and it made her feel drunk. Lithium, by the way, lithium compounds or lithium salts are taken orally and is used as a mood stabilizer. It is commonly used to treat bipolar disorder. Serious side effects include hypothyroid diabetes, insipidus, and lithium toxicity. Blood level monitoring is needed to reduce the risk of toxicity, and lithium is a serious drug to put somebody on. Britney Spears had commented that when she didn't want to continue performing in Vegas for a residency, that she feared reprisal from the people who were overseeing her. And then her therapist had said that he heard she had been uncooperative, and then he started giving her lithium, which would be, there's no way in hell that's not abuse if that's the way it went down. Use of lithium long term can cause kidney damage or kidney failure. Spears said she wanted to marry her boyfriend and start a family, but can't due to the conservatorship. Britney Spears has been in the conservatorship of her father, Jamie Spears, since 2008. So let's go into Spears a little bit. You know, she was born into a Southern Christian family in 1981. And although for a lot of this, you know, you can say the maybe Video Music Awards performance again, this time with Christina Aguilera and Madonna in 2003. She released her fourth album. In January 2004, Spears married a friend from childhood, Jason A. Alexander, in Las Vegas. The marriage was annulled after 55 hours. It was apparently a very impulsive thing, and in March 2004, she did a tour for her fourth album, and on that tour, she had an injury to her knee, caused part of the tour to be canceled. In July of 2004, she became engaged to Kevin Federline, who was a dancer at the time. Apparently, I read about him. He's a dancer, he's a rapper. I don't really know much about him. I'm assuming he's mostly famous because he married Britney Spears. May of 2005, there was a reality show with Britney Spears and Kevin Federline. In 2004, she released a perfume with Elizabeth Arden named Curious. November 2004, she had a release of her greatest hits album. In 2005, released the single Someday I Will Understand. In November 2005, she released a remix album. In 2006, there were photos that surfaced of Britney Spears driving with her son in her lap. She said the reason her son was in her lap was because of a scary encounter with paparazzi. In 2006, she claimed she did a cameo. She did a cameo on Will and Grace and posed for Harper's Bazaar. The reason I'm going through all this stuff is because it's just insanely crazy how busy she's been. I mean, she has been non-stop since it looks like around the age of 17 working. And that's part of my case in defense of this woman. In September of 2006, her second son was born. In 2006, filed for divorce from Kevin Federline. It was finalized in 2007. In 2007, a close aunt of Britney Spears passed away because of cancer. In February 2007, Spears spent less than 24 hours in a rehab facility. The next day, she shaved her head at a boutique in LA. Over the next several weeks, she admitted herself into other rehab facilities. In May of 2007, she produced a series of promotional concerts at the House of Blues venues. And in October of 2007, Britney Spears lost physical custody of her sons to Federline. The reasons were not released for why she lost physical custody of her sons in 2007. In October 2007, she had the release of her fifth album. In 2007, she also did a performance at the MTV Music Awards video show. In January 2008, she refused to release her sons to a representative of Federline. Police noted when they were called to the scene that Britney Spears appeared to be under the influence of an unidentified substance. She was committed to a psychiatric ward of the UCLA Medical Center and put on a 5150 involuntary psychiatric hold. The court then placed her under a conservatorship led by her father and attorney Andrew Wallet. And that was in 2008. It is now 2021, 13 years later, and she is still in this conservatorship. The conservatorship was initially supposed to be temporary, a year. She's had TV appearances, music video awards appearances. In 2008, she had a sixth album released. after she was in the conservatorship. In 2009, there was a restraining order against her former manager, Sam Luffett, and ex-boyfriend, Adnan Galib. March 2009 tour for her recent album. May 2010 began dating her agent, Jason Trawick. In July 2010, released a clothing line. In September 2010, she made an appearance on Glee. In 2011, she did her 7th studio album. In 2011, she did another tour. In September of 2011, released the remix album. Another remix album. 2011, became engaged to Trawick, who became her co-conservator in April of 2012. May of 2012, she was hired as a judge for the reality show X Factor. I've never watched X Factor. I've seen parts of American Idol. I assume it's the same basic premise. There are people trying to become entertainers. They perform in front of celebrity judges who, I guess, dismiss people off the show one by one until they get down to the one person that wins. And she appeared in a song with will.i.am in 2013. She ended her relationship with Trawick, began recording her 8th studio album in 2013, began a residency at Planet Hollywood here in Las Vegas. And her residency was supposed to be 100 shows through 2014 and 2015. She had the release of her 8th album in 2014. She released an intimate apparel line in 2015. She released a single with Iggy Azalea in 2015. She did a performance at the Billboard Music Awards in 2015, another television appearance, 2016, Billboard Music Awards performance, 2016, released a single from the upcoming 9th album. In August 2016, released her 9th album. In 2016, she did a MTV Music Video Awards performance again. In October 2016, she in the October 2016 issue of Marie Claire, Spears indicated she suffered from crippling anxiety in the past. And 2016 to 2017 began dating Sam Asghari. In December 2017, she did her final residency performance in Las Vegas. It was supposed to be just through 2015. They extended it an extra 2 years. It ended in 2017, and her last show at her residency in Vegas was the largest revenue-pulling show in Las Vegas show history. So that was when I realized in 2017, she is still, she started her career in 1998. In 2017, around 20 years later, she's still pulling in massive audiences. She has that kind of draw. In 2018, she released her 24th perfume fragrance with Elizabeth Arden. She also did, in July of that year, started another tour. In October of 2018, there was an announcement of a second residency in Las Vegas. It was going to take place at the Park MGM. And Spears was slated to make $507,000 per performance for that show. In January 2019, she went on a hiatus. There was a cancellation of the residency due to her father's illness. In March 2019, Andrew Wallet, the attorney, resigned from his part of the conservatorship, and it seems he had indicated some amount of financial malfeasance on the part of the conservators. He exited the conservatorship. Spears entered a mental health facility due to stress. A fan podcast released audio purported to be from Spears' former legal team. The audio claims Spears' father terminated the residency due to her unwillingness to take her medication. that he had been holding her in the facility against her will after she violated a no driving rule, and that her conservatorship was supposed to have ended in 2009, which is true. It was supposed to be for a year. From all that I've read, it looks like her conservatorship was supposed to be initially for a year, and it started in 2008, so it would have ended in 2009. Spears released a statement saying that all was well in April of 2019, and Judge Brenda Penny ordered a professional evaluation of the conservatorship. I didn't see who had... I couldn't find who it was that did the evaluation of the conservatorship. In September of 2019, Federline received a restraining order against Spears' father, Jamie, for an incident involving Spears and Federline's son. And that was Jamie's father, the one who's running his conservatorship, being physically aggressive towards his grandchild. Really. After this incident, Jody Montgomery, Spears' longtime care manager, placed Jamie as conservator temporarily. Jody Montgomery, Spears' longtime care manager, replaced Jamie as conservator temporarily in August 2020. Jamie Spears called the hashtag freebritney movement a joke and a conspiracy theory. Spears' attorney submitted a request to have Montgomery as her permanent conservator and replace Jamie Spears with a fiduciary. And if they're going to have her finances managed by somebody besides her, it should be a fiduciary. It should always be a fiduciary, because that's someone who has the sole responsibility of looking out for your best interests. But 4 days later, Judge Penny extended their current arrangement through February of 2021. November 2020, Penny approved Bessemer Trust as co-conservator alongside Jamie Spears. And in late 2020, Spears released 2 new songs. In March 2021, Spears' lawyer filed a request to have Montgomery replace Jamie as conservator of Spears' person, of her personal being. Revelations from Spears' statement: she didn't want to continue the Vegas residency. When she was told she didn't have to do the shows anymore, she feared consequences. Later, her therapist said he had heard she had become uncooperative and began giving a lithium regimen. That's what I was talking about before, which should be criminal. If it went down that way, it should be criminal. She was forced to keep an IUD in place, that is birth control. She felt forced to stay at a mental health facility and to perform against her will. Spears has refused to perform in the future if her father stays on as her conservator. And, I mean, you know, if you would have asked me about Britney Spears a month ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, you know, I would have said, I assume she's really rich. I know she's been famous for a long time. I didn't realize exactly how famous she's in the Guinness Book of World Records because of how well her albums have sold. And she has done very well for herself. And one of the things I wanted to do was look up, because it looks like at the height of her wealth, Britney Spears had a net worth in the $200 to $300 million range, which I would have looked at and said, that makes sense. I would have figured her to be somewhere around that rich. Current estimates of her net worth is that she's worth somewhere around $60 million. According to her dad, she's only worth around $3 million. And one of the claims by the people that are overseeing her is that she was wasting her money, that she was throwing her money away. And the thing is, people have the ability to spend their money however they want to spend it. But I wanted to put together a visual of just how much she should be worth more than $60 million. And this is a group of totals I added up. It is not all of her income. I mean, there's a lot of income that's not there. But since her conservatorship, since other people had control of her money, from tours, I found at least $265.1 million of revenue. Her 1 year salary for that X Factor TV show was $15 million. Her Las Vegas residency, according to the MGM Group, brought in a total revenue over the time it was going on of $137.6 million just from these three sources alone. Since she has not had any control of her money, she has brought in revenue of $417.74 million just from these three sources. That's not counting whatever revenue she gets from the 24 different perfume fragrances she has with Elizabeth Arden. That's not to count the revenue she gets from a clothing line, her intimate clothing line, from her television appearances, her movie appearances. I mean, she has had, if she gets paid, I assume she gets paid to perform at those award shows she did appearances at nearly every year. I mean, there's a lot more revenue that's not listed here. But just since she's been in her conservatorship, I was easily able to trace nearly $500 million of revenue. And for people around Britney Spears to say that she doesn't have a lot of money and it's because of her does not make any sense to me, because here's almost $500 million of revenue. And that's not money she got paid. That's revenue that, like her tours. Her tours, I'm sure, are very costly. She has to pay crew. She has to pay dancers and everybody that works on the tour. But out of $265.1 million, she's going to come out with a good chunk of change from her tours. The X Factor show, that was just money paid directly to her. That was a 1 year salary of $15 million. The Las Vegas residency, it made that much money. The casino is going to make some of the money. It's going to pay Britney Spears out of some of the money. And there's going to be dancers and other people associated with the show that get paid. But out of $137.6 million between 2014 and almost 2018, she's going to make some pretty good money out of that. And so for her dad and people around her to say that she's not got so much money because she spent it. She's been in a conservatorship since 2008. For the last 13 years, including all these figures that I brought up here. She's had no control over her money. The person that had control over her money is this guy, her dad. He's the one that controlled her money for all those years. And her dad gets a salary of $16,000 per month from his daughter. He gets a cut of the money she makes from, not just the money she makes, he gets a cut from the revenues, from tours, from her Vegas residency. He's getting a cut of the action from everything she does as her conservator. He's made millions of dollars just from what he's gotten paid from her. Not to mention if he's in any way squandered some of her fortune. And that's one of the issues I have, is this guy, I looked all over. Britney Spears' mom is listed as an author. The only two books I can find that she ever wrote were about her daughter. Britney Spears' mother wrote 2 books regarding her famous daughter. After Britney Spears got famous, her mother wrote 2 books about Britney Spears. They sold well. Her mother's considered an author. What her mother is the mother of a famous daughter. And yes, if your daughter is super famous and you write books about that super famous daughter, your books will sell and you'll make money, but that does not make you an author. That makes you gives you the ability to write books about your famous daughter and make money off of it. I could not find anything saying what her dad did for a living prior to any of this. There was one comment years ago when his daughter first got famous that he made this statement that my daughter's going to be so rich and famous she's going to buy me a boat. And if your daughter gets rich and famous and she chooses to buy you a boat, good for you. If your daughter gets rich and famous and decides not to buy you a boat, too bad for you. It's her life. And what I do not get is this idea that somehow Britney Spears needs to have people completely controlling her life now for almost a decade and a half. It's been 13 years. In a couple of years, it'll be a decade and a half, 15 years, that she's been completely under the control of somebody else. She has no ability to drive. She has no ability to go hang out with friends. She has no ability to go hang out with her boyfriend. She has no ability to go shopping. She has no ability to do anything unless her dad says she can. She had talked about in her statement how gleeful her dad was at being able to say no, to control what she can and can't do. And I did find a couple of journalists who said that on paperwork filed in California by her father, he had claimed that she has dementia, which, just from her audio statement to the judge, I think you can pretty clearly see she does not have dementia. And if dementia is put on the form, I think there is some severe fraud going on. The whole thing with Britney Spears is that there is, there are pieces for us, looking in, there are pieces missing. And, this is a puzzle, and there are pieces that are missing from the puzzle that we don't know. There is stuff we are not privy to. And you just don't know what's going on necessarily with all of this. She is a very wealthy, very prominent, famous person. She has this conservatorship where her dad is running her life. I'd seen years ago her dad had made a comment that he's been estranged from his daughter for years. That was back before the conservatorship. And there's not a whole lot about her mother in there. Apparently, when Britney Spears put that statement to the judge, both her mother and father were listening. They were in on the video conferencing thing that was going on. And I just don't really know what some of the missing pieces of this puzzle are. She's what evidence was submitted to the court? What evidence was there that shows Britney Spears doesn't have the ability to manage her own life? Somebody could say that, she spent her money whimsically and irresponsibly. Oh yeah, well, show me somebody who hasn't spent their money whimsically and irresponsibly. And the thing is, we don't know if there are doctors involved that have attested to some type of, severe bipolar disorder, that she goes into dangerous moments of depression where she could commit self-harm. I don't know. You don't know. We just don't know. But, it looks to me way more sinister than that. I am being pushed completely towards the hashtag Free Britney side because it looks so damning. She was able to make a coherent statement for over 20 minutes to a judge explaining that she wants control of her life, she wants control of her money, and she wants her father out of it. And the conservatorship is costing her a lot of money. It's very pricey. Everybody she has to pay. And she had expressed that in her statement, that she feels like she's going out and performing just to pay a bunch of people. Just to keep this group of people around her comfortable with the income they're making from Britney Spears. And meanwhile, she has no ability to look at and see what they're doing with her money, where it's gone, and hopefully she will get out of the conservatorship. Hopefully she will get her life back. Hopefully she will hire an attorney herself who will do an investigation of everywhere her money's gone and find out if there was fraud involved. And if there was, hopefully they will charge the people who committed the fraud. And that's what I'm hoping for from this. That Britney Spears gets her life back. I mean, I don't see how, barring some very conclusive proof that she has something mentally wrong with her, that you can have her in this situation and not be violating her constitutional right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. How can you not be violating that part of her right in this country when you are not even giving her the right to control herself? You know, she had expressed that she's had to undress in front of other people, because she has no control over her own person. You know, her dad has control of every part of her body, her life, finances, what she can do, can't do. Everything is under the control of this guy who just seems like a sleazeball. No offense to Britney Spears, her sister, her brother, her mother, her dad. He just seems rather sleazy to me. And that's my opinion. Perhaps I'm wrong. But I definitely believe she needs to be released from the conservatorship to get control of her life back. She has that right in this country, unless somebody can prove she's dangerous to herself or somebody else. Because when it comes to spending money, you can waste your money however you want to waste it. I mean, there are people this year who are going to donate money to Donald Trump. To me, that's a waste of money, but I'm not going to tell those people they can't do it. It's their choice to do what they want to do with their money. And for the Britney Spears saga, I know that today there was an article that the judge, Brenda Penny, has denied in Britney Spears the ending of the conservatorship. She has to make motions through court. She has the lawyer that works for her who is court appointed. She's not even allowed to choose her own lawyer. And she should get released. Hopefully she will be released, but she is completely under the control of other people. And it just seems insane to me that she said with her own voice, I want the conservatorship to end. But Brenda Penny was saying that there's paperwork that has to be filed in order to make that request. And that paperwork will have to be filed by her lawyer. Her lawyer, is he working for her? Is he working for the conservators? Who knows? Everybody's making money off this poor girl. And everybody's bleeding her dry. Meanwhile, they're keeping her in a prison. I'm sure her home is nice. I'm sure her life is rather nice. But no matter how nice the prison is, it's still a prison. She deserves to be free. She deserves to be able to live her life the way she wants to live her life. I'm sure there are plenty of fans that would like to see her tour again. There were fans that would like to see her do another residency in Las Vegas. And perhaps she will once she has the ability to control it herself. And I'm sure the conservators who are running her life, I mean, it seems like they've been pushing her constantly. She's been nonstop working since she was like 17. She's had a very busy schedule. In addition to that, giving birth to 2 children with all that work she was doing. She's been working nonstop since 2008. She's been working nonstop to help make other people wealthy. And her father's made millions. I mean, he has his salary for being a conservator, plus he makes a cut of everything from the tours, the residency, merchandise sales. He's making a cut of everything. It seems so egregiously bad. And there's no logic that I can see to follow that she deserves to be in this situation. I read about conservatorships. It is typically for someone who is incapacitated, physically, mentally incapacitated, that ends up needing a conservatorship of some type. I mean, here they have Britney Spears completely imprisoned, other people running her life, other people pushing her around, having her perform to make money, and it's a scam. It's a scam on this poor girl. But that's my take. Hopefully she will get the paperwork filed. Hopefully this lawyer is actually going to do his job, work for her, represent her, file the paperwork to end the conservatorship, and hopefully it'll get ended. Hopefully once it's ended and she has control of her life and her money, hopefully she'll hire an attorney that will actually go in and investigate all the money she's made since 2008 and everywhere it's gone, and find out if anybody defrauded money from her. And if so, hopefully they will go to court and be imprisoned if they're found guilty of defrauding her of money. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. I hope you have a good day. Please, if you liked the video, give me a like. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe, and I hope you have a great day.